We have to break this generational curse. We have to change our mindset. We have to change what we eat. We have to be more proactive. Hi, and welcome to this episode of Love Speaks. I am your host, Lakeisha, with my wonderful co-host,
Francois. Love speaks what love is, whether it is spiritually, culturally, or currently. Love speaks. What is love speaking to you?
and this episode we have a great guest. We know that this month is not only domestic violence awareness, but it's also cancer awareness. And we all, if not all of us, and let me say that, have either been impacted with a family member who have been diagnosed with one form or another of cancer, or either many of us who may be tuning in to this episode may have had a diagnosis of cancer. And so we wanted to bring, as this is Cancer Awareness Month, a great guest who have experienced cancer firsthand, not only with her mom, but her aunts and others in her family who have died. Even myself, I did say many of us have been impacted by cancer. My grandmother, who had esophageal cancer, has gone on to be with the Lord now. But as I said, that is a condition that we know that have impacted so many of our loved ones. And if, again, some of us have been impacted, by cancer, and we know with the awareness and the knowledge that we have, we can get tested early as we bring knowledge and highlight breast cancer in particular today, making sure that we are getting our yearly exams, mammograms, and always, as I say, if we actually do these exams, then there can be, early detection. So that's why it's so important that we have our exams. Every exam needed, your women's well exam. Make sure, ladies, men also get your prostates checked because it's so important, because early detection, if these things are detected early, the chance of survival is greater. We want to acknowledge our guest today, Chantel Hudson Williams, who will be sharing with us her story, her history with, cancer as it had affected her family as well. So welcome to Love Speak, Chantel.
Thank you so much, Lakeisha and Francois, for having me here. I am excited and I am ready to talk about this great journey and, see how it can encourage and change and impact so many different people, and just knowing that it's a victory behind it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, of course, we go way, way, way back.
Way back.
You are a wife. You are a mother.
Yes.
You are a medical professional.
Yes.
But you are also an advocate.
Very much an advocate.
Advocate. From a medical perspective, what is it that you do?
I am currently a patient advocate. I advocate for veterans as far as their inpatient and outpatient care on that spectrum. It goes beyond as far as their mental health, as far as getting the resources that they need to see what's out there for veterans regarding benefits and all sorts of things as far as on the advocacy spectrum.
Awesome. And so I personally feel, we haven't discussed this, but a lot of this comes from you having to be an advocate on the family side.
Yeah.
On the family side. Can you share your connection with breast cancer awareness and what motivated you to get involved?
Okay, so my connection with breast cancer awareness and what motivated me is because I have such a strong family history with breast cancer. My mother, but beyond my mother, it started with her mother, losing her mother at a very young age, and my mom having to go and live with her aunt, which is my grandfather's sister. In addition to that, my mother's sisters were impacted, three of her sisters. Um, not just 3 of her sisters, but then it became getting into our generation, which was my first cousin, one of my aunt's daughters. So, it's a full scope of breast cancer and the awareness that we had to make ourselves aware at a young age of this such horrible disease, you know? And it growing up, it was scary. It was very, very scary growing up. So that's why I say, you know what? Someone has to be that face for advocacy. And if it has to be me, then I will be that face for advocacy because it plays a role on your mental health. It plays a role as far as emotionally, um, growing up childhood wondering am I next? You know? And so that was my way of stepping out and becoming that advocate to say, you know what? Someone have to say and speak on the prevention and early detection.
Early detection is the key.
Yeah.
I think almost anything that you can find early, because I think the sad part is there are a lot of medical conditions that give you no symptom.
Yes.
And then without proper testing, you won't have the knowledge that you have these issues going on in your body. However, with breast cancer, there some symptoms.
There are some symptoms of breast cancer if you notice different changes in your breast size, or you have any pains, or if you notice any lumps, there's some discharge that will come from the nipple area. Even around the collarbone, if you feel any lumps or pains under the armpits, if you feel anything different or notice any signs or any discomfort, you should talk to your healthcare profession and bring that up so that they are aware to know what kind of preventive testing that needs to go forward.
And with those, we talked earlier about early detection, but what are some of those screenings? I know because they are changing the age range. I
Mhm,
think when it comes to the mammograms and the women well exam, they're constantly changing the guidelines.
mhm,
And so, in your advocacy and your awareness and with your knowledge, what do you recommend for women with you seeing it going from generation to generation?
mhm,
What are your recommendations to women as it retains? Yes, during your monthly checks, as you mentioned, we can
mhm.
check our own breast, but what are your recommendations for having these tests done? How soon should one have that test done as well? What are your thoughts on that?
My recommendation, especially if you have a family history of breast cancer, given our history in when we were growing up, I started my mammograms at 18 years old. That is not the average age to start a mammogram, but because we have such a strong family history, it was helpful. I myself even had a scare of breast cancer. And that was the scariest time for me, you know, so I had to have a my mammogram. It was just a regular routine mammogram, but I felt some discomfort testing. Usually it's just a general screening. If the average woman go and say, okay, I want my screening, it's just usually the general screening, which is there yearly. However, when you have a strong family history, there is something called diagnostic screenings. And with diagnostic screenings, you have your ultrasound, you have your 2D and 3D mammograms. Then you have the MRI, which they can see layers and tissues and different things, and that get to the root cause and analysis of it. So now, since I had that scare and with the biopsy every year, I no longer can have like a regular screening, like a regular routine screening where they just go in, take a picture, and that's it. I always have to have my ultrasound. I have to do and the MRI. Early detection, basically, because that was something that I felt. I have a clip in the area of my breast on the left breast to where they found and did the biopsy. Thank God it was benign. But every year I have to undergo this, and it's such as it's I would admit it's a scary feeling because given my family history,
Yeah.
but it's something that's needed because early detection is the best detection.
And so with it being needed, especially for you, do you think there are other women out there who may not have the history you have that probably should go through that type of screening every year?
I believe that they should change the age range of screenings, especially for African American women. Because if you look at statistics, the African American community have the highest level of breast cancer. So I believe that they should make the age range starting from 25, that mammograms is necessary because all of my mom, her sisters, their diagnosis came in the ages of 25 to 35. 25 to 35. Like my cousin, which was in our generation, she was diagnosed at 27.
Wow.
She was unalive by the time she was 30. And it's such an aggressive strand of cancer to, early detection is the best detection.
And I know that to be a fact because as I do insurance, and in most policies today, if there is a cancer policy someone is enrolled in, or certain benefits that offer a health screening benefit just to get, because there are a lot of women who are not doing the health screenings, a lot of individuals, men as well, because we do know, cancer, breast cancer, cancer,
Mhm.
affects 1% of that percentage of men that it does. But the screenings, they are encouraging. We will give you a health screening benefit, some $75, $100,
Mhm.
just to go to the doctor to do a test, which is preventative.
Yes,
You don't pay a copay for it. So
exactly.
this is why I encourage it's that early detection. I've never had a history of breast cancer in my family, but
Mhm.
as one who knows how detrimental it can be
Yes,
if you wait too late to get diagnosed with such a condition,
yes,
that if it's early detected, then you can get it, like you said, if it's benign, get it clamped. If it's not, then get the course of treatment
yes.
to make sure it doesn't spread. I want to ask that next question. What were some of the biggest emotional challenges your family faced together?
Um, I would say the biggest emotional challenges, like I said, growing up, and it seems like every year there was a funeral. Every year it was a funeral. So that was very emotional. And then not knowing, and because, like I said, it was your mother. You see your mother have it. You see her sisters have it. So you get to the mindset. You even see your cousin, which is our generation. So it's like in your mind, it's when is my turn? Emotionally, we had to come together as a whole, as a family, to know that it has to stop at some point. We have to break this generational curse. We have to change our mindset. We have to change what we eat. We have to be more proactive, you know, getting those early screenings, get in front of it, having those mammograms, getting genetic testing, which is a big thing. I myself got tested genetically and I don't carry the gene. Thank you, Lord. I don't carry the gene. However, there are family members that does carry the gene and which who took preventative measures. So those were some emotional times growing up. However, I'm so thankful that we are overcomers of that.
So let's go back. I mean, of course, you and I, we go so far back.
Yes,
We go so far back. We've been knowing each other for years,
for years.
decades.
Third grade. Let me see, Evans.
We go so far back, and
Yes,
I remember, you always polite, always kind, always friendly,
yes,
very protective. That's just the core
yes,
of who you are.
yes,
And our moms became friends,
yes.
and we didn't know.
Exactly.
We didn't know, and it wasn't until one night I actually met your mom, and you weren't there, and I came back. She told me, she say, "What school you go to?" "My daughter go to that school."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "What's your daughter's name?" And she told me your name. I said, "That's my daughter." And she kept us laughing half of the night. The next day I came to school, I told you, "I met your mom."
Yeah, but I remember that. I'm like, she is so funny. She is so funny.
And you described our conversation to the
Yes,
T.
she's gonna tell you about something. She's gonna leave you a little nasty. Yes, she has such a big, 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 big heart.
Exactly, exactly. And
Affectionately, let me say this, affectionately known.
Yes,
Control.
exactly.
And
The one and only.
one and only.
exactly, exactly.
Today.
And we know she played a major role in your life,
Yes,
especially when it comes to her hope,
yes,
her faith,
yes,
her care for family.
yes,
I don't think I ever seen under 3 people in your mama house at any given time.
yes, yes. My mom, she was the neighborhood hope. And that's how I can just describe her. She was the neighborhood hope because she loved family. She loved children. She just loved people in general. She loved people. She loved company.
Mm,
My mom was the one that loved company. And that, I think, what preserved her life during her breast cancer journey. Because during that time, my mom was not afraid to let anyone know that,
eh,
hey, this is what I have, but it does not have me.
exactly.
And she got everyone involved in her journey. She kept her fight, she kept her faith, and she just knew without a shadow of a doubt that I'm gonna make it through this.
Yes.
I'm gonna make it through this. And she would just bring in the neighborhood. She would bring in the people. She would take the children. She would feed everybody. You know, when a young lady that lived downstairs from us, she had a early teen pregnancy, and my mom was like, "Okay, give me the baby. Go back to school. Go finish school. I'll raise the baby." And my mom raised that baby until she was maybe about 3 and gave her back to her mom. Like, okay, here you go. You know, and so my mom was that person, that pillar that everyone would go to and say, Miss Tro,
Yeah.
I need, or Miss Tro, I'm just coming over, or Miss Tro. She was Miss Tro, and everyone in Scott Projects
Yes.
loved her.
Mm.
Loved her. Her big heart, her smile, her encouragement, her empowerment, and her advocacy just for breast cancer
Mm.
and all cancers, just, early detection.
And you said she brought them in on the journey.
Yes.
What could you say uh, to that person about sharing their journey when they are experiencing whatever diagnosis? We're dealing with breast cancer awareness,
Mhm.
but whatever diagnosis, what could you say about that?
You have to just bring people into your story because you never know how your story will impact others. If you keep your diagnosis, you never know if somebody else is going through the same thing. And if they see that you are overcomer or you going on with it like head on with the fight, they see strength in you where, you know what, she's not hiding her journey. Because you have some people that has diagnosis and they hide their diagnosis. They don't want anybody to know. They feel like they're alone. They feel shame. They feel for whatever reason it's a secret.
Mhm.
But it's not a secret. It's something to be shared because once it's shared, people have hope.
Yes.
It's life. Show your strength and share your journey because it's necessary.
And I wanted to add on that note to see what are your thoughts concerning, because I've heard from other, you know, loved ones of individuals who died, unalive from cancer, and not just breast cancer, but cancer in general, where they did not share until they were in that last stage or that final stage. And then that's when the family found out. So I know and I hear you saying the importance of sharing it because others can come along on the journey and to give hope. But what was that like with you hearing your mom saying that at that time that she had cancer and the hope you brought to her, even as a young
Mhm.
child? And what would you say to that individual who may be holding out, not wanting to share? Because in most cases, you hear, I don't want to change my family dynamics. I want to let these last days of my life or our life together be without them worrying about me. What would you
Mm.
say to that person who's holding out and not sharing for that reason?
It's selfish. That will be it's selfish because family should know. Family should know what's going on. Family should know the urgency of your illness so that they can be that support. when you going through cancer or any diagnosis, you need family support. You need that support. So there's no secret in hiding your diagnosis because you never know how it will help or upbuild someone else. You have to be able to tell and get your family prepared of what's to come so that they can reach out to other support groups or or other communities to see how they can help along the journey.
And
You never know what other resources is out there
Absolutely.
than keeping it all into yourself.
that's what's going to be the follow-up question for that is how can family and or friends help someone who's diagnosed with cancer, but without overstepping?
Just be that support, but also be sensitive to enough to know um, where they are coming from, where the person that's diagnosed what their mental state is, because sometimes you ask too many questions, it's give them a setback.
Exactly.
So you don't want to overstep in asking too many questions, but just ask the pivotal questions like, how are you? How's your mental health? Try to keep as normalcy as possible. Let them know that you are there. Whatever it is that you need, I'm here to support you, whether it's to go to your treatments with you or just sit and talk or let's go to dinner or just to know that they have that support. Hey, look, life is still lifing. Even though I'm already here, I can still enjoy life. I can still enjoy the fundamentals. Like, I know my family is here to support me. I know that, I have a big support system. And that's what it's all about, having that support system.
And I think you were so right. I think that's really a key to help sustain life. I can remember my mom did not have breast cancer. I think she had ovarian cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember being one of her supports and going with her to the doctor. And I knew something was going on. She wasn't feeling well. Um, but her being the strong personality she is,
Mm-hmm.
the strong personality that she is. And I can remember that I didn't want to do anything to disrupt the atmosphere she was already in.
Mm-hmm.
But sitting with her in the doctor's office and hearing the doctor say what the doctor said,
Mm-hmm.
and I immediately I was just gonna do it on my break and then go back to work. And I said to myself, I refuse to leave her.
Yes.
She was, she was big and strong. I'm good, okay, whatever. Yeah. But just I know what it did, just hearing it did to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept my composure,
Yes.
but I made sure that I took the rest of the day off. Let's go eat lunch.
Yes. Yes.
Let's go get whatever you want to get.
Yes.
And let's just go ahead and just enjoy the moment. That support system goes a long way.
It does.
Your mother became a support system, and and she received
Yes.
support system.
Yes. She was the support system and she received the support system because my mom, her demise was not from breast cancer.
Mhm.
She was a breast cancer survivor for over 22 years.
Oh,
My mom, later, she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer.
wow.
So that's why I say cancer of any sort, and with ovarian cancer, now that's something else in our family, the genetics that we have to look for.
Mhm.
Well, we have to look for, and we have to be so careful with it
Exactly.
because that's what was her demise. Catching it at a late stage because with ovarian cancer,
Yes.
there's no symptoms.
Exactly.
There's no symptoms. Unlike breast cancer, where you see the lumps, the different things, and the texture, the skin, with ovarian cancer, there is no symptoms at all.
Mhm.
None. But however, there is a blood test that you can ask your provider for during your yearly annual pap smears. There's a blood test that you can ask your provider for, and they don't tell you about that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's why you have to advocate. We have to advocate for ourselves
Mm-hmm.
because in most cases, even, with medicine and providers, it's a basic routine today. Okay. And in most cases that I've discovered too, that in going to, and the reason I say advocate for yourself, because I'm kind of noticing this pattern when you're going to the doctor's office, if you start describing or telling them, and if you've already self-diagnosed yourself, they go with that diagnosis. And they say
Exactly.
that's what's wrong with you.
Exactly.
Oh, I think I went to the doctor one time saying that I think I had sciatica. And they okay, you got sciatica, and gave me a prescription for, I know it's a light compared to cancer, but just in the scenario of what transpired, because I said I had sciatica, wrote me a prescription for medication, pain pills, and things for sciatica. But what the reality was, I had a DVT.
Yes.
I had a blood clot in my leg when I self-diagnosed as sciatica, because that was the conversation. And if you don't have a provider who's going to do their due diligence, it
Yes.
wasn't until I went back to my own primary, because I went to urgent care,
Yeah.
and that's what urgent care did. But then when I went to my provider, my primary care doctor, my doctor looked and said, no, that's not sciatica, because your leg wouldn't be swelling and things, and so she sent me to do the additional test, which discovered that was a DV. So I say that when our bodies is doing anything different, and I always joke with one of my sisters, because she's very alert when it comes to health, and always urgently run into a doctor or urgent care. And I say, if anything in your body is abnormal, your body, you feel different, and it's just not a little slight adjustment in what you're feeling, anything major, pain, discomfort in certain areas of your body, it is very important that you self-advocate for yourself, require them to run the test.
Yes.
And that's where we were having a conversation just recently with, these new forms of cancer that is coming, where by the time they're detected, they're at stage 3 and stage 4, but it's only been 2 weeks, 4 weeks of the symptoms.
Because that's when it has gone far beyond. It has gone far beyond. It's just living in the body doormat, just ready to wake up. And before you catch it, like you say, it's months has passed, and by the time you catch it, you're in stage 3 or stage 4. Like with my mom and with ovarian cancer, by the time they caught it, it was already stage 4.
Yeah.
But with breast cancer, she got a diagnosis. She caught it early prevention, because she felt that lump, and she felt the different things within her breast, and she got in front of it and was able to go ahead and get a treatment plan, an aggressive treatment plan, chemotherapy, radiation. She had a bilateral mastectomy and did the necessary measures to prolong her life.
Exactly. Exactly. So what should be the next step after a diagnosis?
The next step after a diagnosis is to know, one, mentally, that there is no death after a diagnosis. In your mind, you have to tell yourself,
Yeah.
there is no death after a
That's
diagnosis.
good.
And that is one thing that, as an advocate, that's something that I let people that's facing diagnosis know. That diagnosis does not equal death. Diagnosis means treatment, preventive measures, and running the race of faith, knowing that you are an overcomer.
Yeah.
You can't just defeat in your mind when you get a diagnosis and say, this is it. I'm
Exactly.
just going to lay down and wear it.
Exactly.
No, because you've already defeated yourself. You have to know that this is what it is. How can I get in front of it? What are the preventive measures? Whether it's a mastectomy, whether it's a hysterectomy, or whatever treatment plan that will be beneficial, so that you can be here for your family, for your friends, just for yourself, and show up for yourself every day to know that there is not a death after a diagnosis.
That is wonderful. There is not death after diagnosis.
I just want to add one quickly. I know we're getting ready to wrap up when you said that death part, but what about the other D, denial? And especially those who are in the faith, because they deny it, saying that by faith. So is it wise to deny and say by faith without going through the course, as you mentioned, getting treatment and getting, the preventatives and all of the things that needs to be done? What about the denial for some people?
The denial is something that they have to work on. Like, that's just like the Bible. Faith without works is dead. You can be in denial all you want to. And you can have your faith and say, oh, well, the faith is going to do it because, I know God is going to do it. Yes, God is going to do it, but your works,
That's right.
you're going to have to go to the provider, go get the necessary treatment. God implanted that's why we have doctors. That's why we have preventive measures. That's why we have the different things so that we can get in front of it to get these treatment plans and treatment options will be the best thing for you to prolong your life. So just you can be in denial and you can have faith, but please, please, please activate your faith by your works.
Exactly. And another thing I like to add, and I picked this up when I was going through my mom's doctor's appointment. Just because there is no cure does not mean there is no healing.
Yes.
And for me, cure means that science have not come up with a way to prevent everybody else from ever getting it again.
Mhm.
To me, that's what a cure is.
Mhm.
That once they come up with a cure, we don't ever have to worry about it from anybody. Nobody else will ever get breast cancer again because there's a cure. But just because there's no cure doesn't mean there's no healing. And I believe, like you said, going through the measures, you said your mom survived 22 years.
Yes.
Sounds like a healing to me.
Yes. A healing.
So 22 years, why? Because she did what it took.
Yes. Yeah.
She did what it took.
Yes.
Yeah, this has been a good. Thank you for this great information. It's been good. And then I'm sitting here, right, and I'm saying to myself, wait, how you do your hair like that?
Her name is Judy. My loctician. Hey, Miss Judy.
Okay, because that's like, for me, if you know her outside, she has these long, gorgeous locks.
Yes.
And I'm listening to all of get information, but I'm distracted. I'm like, wait a minute now.
Yes. Her name is Miss.
Where did her hair go?
She just rolled it up in these little knots. So I don't have to cut my hair so I can go long or I can go short.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
She came to advocating in style. She
Oh, yes. I had to put on my
ain't got the nails to match.
Yes.
So we thank you so much, Sean, for
Yes.
like speaks, showing your passion and your love and
Yes.
the advocacy that you're doing for cancer awareness. We hope you enjoyed this segment of Love Speaks. Join us on our next episode as we continue to share with those who are passionate about what they love culturally, and what they are doing in the community. So we'll see you next time. Thank you. Until then, have a great one. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification button below so you'll know the next time we're coming on your social media platforms or your platforms. Have a great day.
Love Speaks is what love is. Love is culturally, love is spiritually, love is connective, and love is current. And so we're so grateful to have you here. So do us a favor, like, share, subscribe on whatever platform that you have, and hit the notification button. So every time that we come on, hey, we are here. Every week we're releasing a new episode of great information, and we want you to be a part of it. We do all this with you in mind.